So let's look into this episode, which is on biggest advantage, that is a study in exposure, the exposure that students get in different tier cities. So when people think about why students from Bengaluru, Delhi, Mumbai or Hyderabad seem to have an advantage, what they usually say is that they have better schools, they have richer parents, and here's the thing, that I don't think that's the biggest advantage anymore in 2026. So the new reality is that knowledge is no longer locked behind city walls, not kept by gatekeepers. Now you have things like YouTube, free lectures, ChatGPT for asking, clarifying your questions, and online courses everywhere for very low prices. So if knowledge is becoming free, why do students from Tier 1 cities still discover exciting careers much earlier than their Tier 3 counterparts? The answer here is that what surprised me. When I look deeper into this, it isn't about education. The city isn't giving students better knowledge. It's giving them better encounters and better access to people. So imagine two students in this story. We have two students in the same year. One from Bengaluru, student A, lives in a metro city, school 10 minutes from a tech park. And student B, who lives in a small town, lives 2 hours from the nearest major city. So the equal start, the student A and student B, both of them equally intelligent, scores 90% in their class exams and has a smartphone, access to data due to Geo. Now let's look at what happens over a period of 1 year. The Bengali student year, it consists of attends a startup meetup 10 minutes away, a cousin introduces them to someone at a gaming company, school invites a product designer for career day, visits a robotics lab during a school trip, and participates in a hackathon over the weekend. So what are the things they're hearing on a day-to-day basis? They hear unfamiliar names, unfamiliar careers, UX design, data science, product management, robotics engineering. So terms like these. They don't necessarily choose those careers. That is the shift that we have to focus on. Whereas a small town student's year, it consists of school, coaching, homework, tuition, home, and then repeat over these same themes. The missing encounters, nobody around them is a game designer, nobody builds AI products, nobody works in animation or media, nobody develops satellites, high tech, nobody creates electric vehicles, transportation. So the conclusion from all this is that it's not that they're less talented. Their world is simply smaller in terms of exposure. That is our keyword. The real gap here is that for years, we believed the wrong thing. What is that? The old assumption was that we believed the gap was access to information. That was true. That was true back then, maybe in 2010 or 2000. But today, information is everywhere. It's exploding all over the place. People have recently, I think Kunal Shah has noted that India is sitting on 35 GB per person per day. That is a massive amount of data being consumed, maybe for entertainment or for education, but it is being consumed because of the price of data has collapsed. So the real gap that you have to notice is that it's access to people. This is again how we are going back to exposure. So what rich cities actually give to the students access to people like humans doing the work that you haven't imagined, you are not exposed to. Access to conversations, casual, unplanned, impossible to replicate in a smaller city or village. Access to communities, people building things that you didn't know exists. Access to role models, so proof that a certain life is possible, a certain lifestyle, a kind of person who gets a lifestyle by doing certain things. So access to seeing what different careers actually look like on a daily or a weekly basis, they get access to that. So you can't dream about becoming something that you have never even heard of or seen. This is true for your career as well. Careers that nobody introduced, like supply chain designer, never mentioned, UX researcher, robotics safety engineer, cybersecurity, climate data scientists, these things are never mentioned in day-to-day or monthly conversations. Not because those careers aren't amazing, because nobody ever introduced them. So ambition is limited by your exposure. Why this matters to you? This is exactly why so many students say that I don't know what I am interested in. What is the subject that I want to work on, that I want to make the subject of my life, my career. So it's not about lacking ambition. They know what they want, but it's about lacking experiences in the real world, where the map is simply too small for the tier 3 or the village student. Think of it in this way, that imagine asking a child to choose their favorite cuisine. Would that be a fair question? Of course not, because they have not tasted enough cuisine, they have never not been around the world, they have not been to different countries, and so they don't have enough exposure, enough ideas of the hundreds and maybe thousands of cuisines that are available around the world. So that's exactly what we do with careers. There are only 5 to 6 professions that most people know of, and they keep repeating that and they keep teaching that to the next generation. So that's not career guidance, that's career guessing. You are trying to guess. You are trying to guess something. Maybe the student will fit into it, maybe they won't. So the next step that comes is the next revolution in education won't be better lectures, because this is already solved. Physics Wala and others have solved that problem beautifully with content, and there is no paywalls. It's available freely. The entire courses of hours, hundreds of hours, available free on platforms. Great lectures are no longer scarce. Access to people, mentors, and real-world conversation, that still is limited. So the real revolution that is supposed to come is giving every student, Mumbai or a small village, a small town, tier 3 city. So the core insight is that talent is everywhere. There are people who are intelligent in every community. Exposure is not reaching all of them. So that is what is creating the difference. Exposure is not available to everyone. The outcome is that, and once we fix that, millions of children will finally dream beyond the limits of their postcode, of their geographical area. So what we're trying to do with SideQuest, we are building this future, a curiosity mapping community for students aged 13 to 18, teenagers who are just starting out, just in school, figuring out different subjects and figuring out their interests. Equal exposure, real mentors, and just 100 rupees to start. So if you're interested, do check out this website, and also this next video, which is on why parents suggest only 5 careers or only few careers, and they are not generally aware of the thousands of new careers which have evolved in last few years, the AI world, and how you can benefit from that. See you in the next one.